So first of all, I'd like to thank Steve Shore and the other people who organized this wonderful conference. When Steve asked us the question and we were all supposed to answer it, I thought whoever hit the button first would then give the right answer, as if it was Jeopardy or some other. And you have to put your answer in the form of a question. So for me, both Democrats and Republicans are equal opportunity destroyers. Genetic engineering was introduced in a large degree under Clinton and Gore, who were the administration from Monsanto. They put Michael Taylor into office as the head of the FDA. The FDA also stands for direct action, meaning that's how we deal with it, through our own direct action with ourselves and our folks and our friends and the groups that we're part of. So that's the message I would convey, is that we have to organize with each other, as everybody here has been saying. We have to organize not only to feed ourselves individually, to improve our individual health, but to also care about the world, care about what's being done to people all around the world, and then ask, why is this happening? Why has every government in the world known about the dangers of glyphosate, say, and Monsanto's Roundup, and it still, years and years and years, has done nothing about it? How is that progressive mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, still keeping spraying of Roundup in New York City parks, although I think that's going to come to an end soon? How is it that Hillary Clinton traveled around the world as the spokesperson for genetic engineering, and nobody thinks about that or talks about that? Or how Donald Trump or Ronald Reagan and all the others, Republicans and Democrats alike, put pesticides and genetic engineering on the front burner to move it forward as an industry to protect the profits of the corporations that were supporting them. This is all a question that we have to ask ourselves, and we also have to ask ourselves, I believe, what do we do when we win a victory, such as getting rid of Monsanto's glyphosate? It looks like that's going to happen somewhere along the way soon, but then they're coming right back with dicamba. They're coming right back with another pesticide or another synthesized creation that they're doing in the lab. What do we do about that? How do we organize when they finally banned DDT in early 1960s, and Rachel Carson heroically stood out there and wrote the defining Silent Spring, one of the defining books of our time, and a mass movement was formed to fight against DDT and eventually won. And I also wanted to say that it was a movement largely of women at the time as well, who were combined the issue of DDT. Remember, Rachel Carson didn't look at just DDT alone. She looked at the radiation that was coming from nuclear bomb tests and the Cold War with Russia, and how the strontium-90 was poisoning the milk supply that was going into the kids and the children, and so that these issues became combined. So nobody thought these were two separate issues. Everybody said these were the same, although history now has sort of separated them so that we only think of DDT and not also the nuclear arms race. But these two are combined issues. And so I think we need to think in that context. One last thing, Henry Kissinger famously said to give food aid to people just because they are starving is a pretty weak reason. That's Henry Kissinger, the author of much of the U.S. policy. I think he accurately reflected what the U.S. policy is on these issues, and it is immoral, and it is just awful that we have this. And so we have to see why. What is it that they were giving food aid for? Every food aid that's given now to the earthquake victims, to the tsunami victims, all is filled with genetically engineered and pesticided grains and food to dump it on those markets. And we have to deal with that and put our own individual hunger, feeding ourselves, concerned about ourselves into that context and see how we could unite with people all over the world, not only here, to fight against this monster.